And I
Hey
think,
everyone, welcome to the live stream with Glenn Kelley running for governor here in Washington State under the We the People Party banner. Good to see you, Glenn.
good to see you. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. So what are we talking about today?
Well, so it's like, what if the biggest barrier to change in Washington State isn't corruption but confusion?
Like, what do you mean confusion?
Well,
People are, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
But people are just confused on how to fix the system, or confused about the corruption, or confused about, I don't know, how to
Com-
vote since we have such
Confused
low
about
voter
the whole.
turnout.
They don't know how the system actually works,
Gotcha.
and they vote for things that they don't even know that they're voting for,
Or
or how to
when they do,
vote, or where
yeah.
they're like when they're voting on. You know, does anybody really know what the budget is and where the money actually goes?
Well, I would say no. They don't even tell, their budgets that they put on their website are overview budgets. It does not have a line item on where the money goes. So I would say no, they don't.
Right? And we need to get like citizen committees to and people to research this, get this information, get it to everybody so everybody knows what's really going on. Be
Yep.
transparent. They're not transparent. They're transparent in the fact that you got to go research it to find out what it is. They don't just straight out forward tell you.
Yeah. And that needs to change. That needs to be a systematic change, a requirement.
Right. And the average citizen doesn't know how to research that to even find out what it is. And so they just go by what they're told or what they hear, or see on social media and don't really know what it is.
It took me years to figure out how to do a Freedom of Information Act request, not just learn how to do it, but actually file it, to go in and file the document for that request. And most people don't know, and they don't want to put their name to it.
Yeah, then
That's
they're going to
another
be
thing.
targeted then.
Yeah, because if you put your name to it, now the county or the state or the city knows that you're paying attention.
Right.
You got to put in your phone number and your email and your address, right? So
Right.
one of my buddies that had a vacation home here in Pacific County, he lives in Vancouver. He would put in Freedom of Information Act requests using his vacation home address.
Hmm. Right. That's smart.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to learn how to file it, and I don't think it should be required. We shouldn't have to dig. We shouldn't have to file a request for
You should be able to
freedom
go
and
look it up
transparency.
you could be able to bring up their website and look it up. No charge, no
Yep.
nothing. Hey, it's there. It's supposed to be transparent. What's the budget? Let me see the numbers. That simple.
Yeah, so day one, Glenn Kelley is going to make an executive order for line item budgets required all across the state.
Absolutely.
That's a good one to run on. That is a really good topic because that brings
People need
transparency.
right? Find out. You'll know where the waste is and how to get rid of it at that point. The citizens will. They'll put their committees together and it's, wait a minute, what is this? Hell no. You know what I mean? And let's get rid of that tax because it's been long overdue to be gone.
Yeah. Well,
They
sunsetting
always add
taxes.
taxes, they never take away.
Oh, for sure. Well, sunsetting taxes is definitely something that needs to be discussed also. But the transparent budgets, as an executive order, that's going to get a lot of attention. Obviously, it's going to get a lot of pushback from the people who are hiding things.
Right. Right.
You know,
That's,
with all of the corruption that's being found out right now, and the attorney general or the state legislator trying to hide it, trying to make a law to hide all this stuff. I
right.
mean, yeah,
It's absolutely off the hook ridiculous.
yep,
We had a surplus just not that long ago. Now we have billions of dollars in debt for our state, and it's getting worse.
yep, yeah.
It's
We have a huge budget
absolutely
budget deficit.
well. that just in not that many years, the population of the state has went up. Did you know that 16% of the population of Washington state, and the reason why the numbers show growth, people are actually moving away. Citizens are moving away from Washington, but there's such an influx of international migrants.
Okay.
16% of the population of Washington state right now is migrants from other countries all over the world. That's a
Interesting.
lot. It's over well over 1 million. Then I posted the numbers actually earlier on my website, or not on my website, but I guess on my Facebook.
So native Washingtonians, and not just native people who are native to Washington, but native to the United States that have moved in the past, they're moving out,
Right.
and immigrants from other countries are moving in. Why do you
At
think
a
that is?
higher rate. 72% of the population growth is from international migrants.
Interesting.
And so that's 16%. That's
Of the total
out of
population?
8 million, it's more than 1 million out of 8 million people in
Yeah.
the state. 16% is what it is. And when you do that, you have a lot of social services going out to these people.
Mhm.
So that's what's being contributed is more debt for citizens of Washington state that are Americans that are already here. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just stating the facts.
Yeah.
They're not illegal immigrants, but they are immigrants
Mhm.
and refugees and all that. We're taking in too many. Does that make
And it's
sense?
bankrupting us. Yeah.
It's bankrupting the state because they get all the services, and in the budget it's in there, and a big part of our budget goes to it.
Yeah.
A lot.
This is kind of infuriating. I work 7 days a week. 7 days a week. I've been working. I come into the facility. I have to. I can't. I can't afford to even pay for an employee sometimes. I got people coming in part time helping me out here and there when I need it, just because of the taxes. L&I, labor and industries, B&O tax, like all the
Yeah,
taxes that we pay,
right.
and property taxes going out, and I have no way. Yeah, like I can't just decide to increase my income on a whim.
No, I work 5 days a week minimum, and when I'm not at work. Well, I got to work on my house. You ain't
Yeah,
got time. You don't have enough time to take care of everything either.
yeah.
You're working 7 days a week, so I can't imagine how hard it is for you.
Yeah, no, I handle stuff at the house too. Go back and forth. I try to fit things in, do a load of dishes here and there. I just washed the truck today. It's been a month.
Right?
Try to fit things in where I can. But you have other people that seem like they are getting everything paid for: housing, food, healthcare, cell
Right.
phones,
Daycare,
internet,
all of it.
daycare. Yeah, daycare. That's a huge one, right? Somali fraud daycare.
It's not just
Turns out.
Somali. It's
Oh,
actually,
sure.
if you look up the stats on it, it's other countries that have the most. It's not even Somali, but Somali's a big part of it. But it's not just them. It's a bunch of other countries coming over here also doing the same thing in Washington State, and they're not
Yep.
even the highest on the list for getting that money for daycare.
Hmm.
It's absolute. The numbers they're staggering,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
why we
crazy.
have to work so much as citizens. Washington State, it's supposed to be like its own little country. We should be able to make a living, raise our family, and not have to work 7 days a week.
I agree. You know what's crazy too? It's like I'm getting phone calls from the state. If I'm a day late paying taxes, Department of Revenue is on my ass.
Right?
Multiple phone calls every single day, letters coming in. They use all different phone numbers, right?
Emails.
Multiple agents, emails. Yeah. Department
Yeah.
of Revenue is
Well,
on
they
on
want their
on
money.
my ass.
They want it
They want
now.
their money. Yeah. And that person's probably making, 6 figures a year, that's making the phone calls. They're agents, right? Working 4 days a week, full benefit packages. I'm not
Right.
saying people don't deserve a living wage. I'm saying that they shouldn't deserve a living wage when they're living off of their neighbors, basically.
Right, and they're not
Stealing-
even citizens of this country is what's really horrible.
Some of them, yeah. It's
The
crazy.
migrants are not. They're not illegal immigrants. They're migrants, and they're not citizens yet. Sure, I'm sure they're going to work towards it because that's how it works.
Yeah.
But when they come in here, they're not citizens. And that's what's making it so everybody has to work so hard. We can barely afford to be here.
Yeah. And then you have Washington State also pushing back on releasing the voter rolls. They don't want to release the voter rolls because there could be a bunch of non-citizens that are registered to vote.
There could be quite a few 100,000, maybe even 1 million of them, for that matter.
That are registered to vote and voting.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you were one of them, you'd vote for that party that's paying for it.
Oh yeah. It'd be interesting to see a graph of the correlation with the number of these immigrants being brought into Washington State and the rise of the Democrat supermajority, right? Because there was a time when Republicans had majority of the Senate. There was only one or two seats different in the state house. The Republican gubernatorial candidate was a lot closer in vote than what he's at now. I'd like to see a correlation with increase in migrants and increase in Democrat vote totals year by year. I think
we should research that and put it on the website.
Yeah,
for everybody to see and get straight from their records.
Yep, absolutely. Because if when you go to get a driver's license, which they do give driver's license to non-citizens,
Right?
also at the same time you can register to vote.
Right.
Just click that box, man. Click that box. You're registered. So
yeah, it's pretty different. That should be researched also, and just shown how it can be done.
Yep. So let's go back to the topic of these budgets, right?
Yeah.
State budgets, county budgets, city budgets, they're often treated like sacred texts. What it reminds me of is back when the Bible was only written in Latin, right? And a lot of people in the Middle Ages, could Hebrew and translated to Latin. But I remember, back in Germany with Martin Luther, when he translated it into the common tongue, and people were able to read it on their own. But before that, all the priests said it was like too complicated for regular people to look at. So they only the priest could read it. Yeah, you ought to listen to the elected official, right? The elected official knows how it is, right? Yes. The county treasurer, So what I'd like to see is to break it down to where people can actually see where the money goes, like break it down by transaction. Did you know that most elected officials have government credit cards?
Yeah, I didn't.
They can just gets paid off. Yeah, the city, your county, your state, they just pay it off. When they go on trips, their food gets covered, drinks get covered. If they're out in their community, right, and it's something that needs to be quote unquote. And you've heard of there has been corruption that's been, released on that, because city officials or county officials, and I've seen it in other states mostly, where people are doing audits on those credit card transactions and seeing that, the people are, making a car payment with it, or making, going to Ruth Chris Steakhouse and spending $600, right? And there's pushback. But there isn't pushback here, I don't see, right? Because no one can see what they're spending their credit card on, right? And that's another transparency issue. If every elected official's county or city or state credit card, if we could see that, we should be able to see where every single penny from these government budgets are going.
That's our money. That's taxes. That's our taxes. Is our representation them going out to get a steak at Stanley and Seaford's?
That's it. Yeah. I mean,
Because if I had that tax money, I could have went there myself and had a nice meal.
yeah, that's the thing. They're stealing so much money from me right now. It's just infuriating. You know,
Yeah.
God, I look
The
at it. It's over $1,000 plus a month is going out in taxes for me personally. Like, that's crazy.
I think
That's my car payments, insurance, cell phone bill.
I think I
Right?
pay
I'm
more
not
than
going out.
I think I pay more than 1,000 in each paycheck to taxes.
Well, see, there you go. Yeah, I was just talking property taxes. That was,
I'm talking about paycheck.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you
And
got
then when
that
you make,
money going out.
if I were to make just a few thousand more dollars a year, even 20,000 more, I would actually bring home less than I do now, because it puts me in a tax bracket where I get taxed more, and it wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth to get a $20,000 raise.
That
Because I
is
make less
crazy.
money.
That is insane.
But that's how those taxes work. When you start looking at them charts, then you can skip past that, and then you can make more, and then you're making more than before. But you have to jump too many loops to just even make more money. Because the more you make, the more you get taxed.
See, that right there needs to be a flat tax. There needs to be a flat one rate for everyone if there is these taxes on payroll anyways.
When you say a flat tax, you mean a percentage, because then would that not make it more fair?
Yeah.
Or does everybody pay the same amount? If this guy pays $10, he makes 50,000 a year, he pays $10. This guy makes 5 million a year, he pays $10. That doesn't quite work.
Sure, but I was thinking a percentage. You know what I mean?
So 1% would be effectively across the board, I think, more fair.
Sure. Yeah. I think that'd be
my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there should be any taxes, but that's another different story. But because there are, and there's nothing we can do about it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What we do to ease the pain of it.
Yeah, I think there should be a transition. You know what I mean? I actually agree with you, but I do like the idea of making it fair. If there is going to be an income tax, it needs to be the same across the board, right? We need to get rid of all these IRS agents, these accountants that are doing the taxes, and this giant stack of tax code. Get rid of all of it. Just a flat, whatever, 10% across the top. Good to go.
Well, you're kind of pushing it with that 10%, mister.
All right, 7. We'll meet at 5. How about that?
1.
0. I said 10. We'll meet at 5 in the middle. Anyways, yeah. But the thing is, it's like the government continues to raise our taxes anytime they want. We can't raise our income anytime we want.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good point. Nobody ever says that like you just did. That was perfect.
Yeah, I just said it the first time, but still.
No, that's a perfect analogy for it. That really hits it at home right there. I like that.
So okay, yeah. So we can't increase. Right. Yeah. Write that one down. I'm sure Tony will cut that out. So with transparency, right? We need to have the budgets online, available for anyone can see at any time, right? And another thing with transparency is they need to live stream their meetings.
Yes, unless there's personal information or could be, you know what I mean? That makes sense?
What do you mean personal information?
Maybe, I don't know. If not the politician, but a constituent, if they're having a meeting with a constituent, that might be different. That would be up to them. Not a lobbyist. I'm talking just normal voters. Maybe they're talking about something personal or want to talk about something personal that happened to them or their child or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that, but at the same time, why are they even talking to the politician about it? So the politician can make a law, right, or change an ordinance. And if that is public, that's a public concern.
That's true.
You know, and if they're, because I don't know. I could see personal information if someone's family is a victim,
Yeah,
right? And a
I mean, like a
detective.
victim of rape or whatever,
Yeah, but that's I'm not saying that the police department detectives need to. Well, see,
No, they can
they
always
don't
block
live
out the
stream, but they
face and
record it.
they can black out the face and change the voice, and then nobody knows who it is.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, I just realized this is that all the police and the detectives, they're recording all the time, and you can
That's
get
true.
that from whatever meeting you want
That's true. That's
with a
true.
Freedom of Information Act request. But the politicians aren't.
Right. The police wear them. Everybody should wear them.
I
People should
mean,
wear them. Citizens should
you know,
wear them. So if something happens to them, hey, no, this is not what happened. Here's the
yeah,
recording.
well, you got them on cars now, right?
Right, for
Something
action
happens.
stuff,
Yeah, because people lie.
Right, and if you got your camera that records everything, you're golden. If you didn't do anything wrong, you'll know it, and you'll have the evidence that you didn't.
That's correct.
So it's not always a bad thing. It can be a good thing in a lot of ways. It's just when somebody uses it for bad, it becomes bad. But I guess that's with everything, isn't it?
Yeah. So Tony says, we the people committees, maybe we could do FOIA through We the People. She makes a good point. We should do some classes on how to do a Freedom of Information Act request.
We should do some freedom of information. Do it. Show them by doing it at the same time, even.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Them, just do it.
Yeah, I'd like to see, a transparent line item budget for the state of Washington. We can do it one for that. Yep. And get it submitted and see what happens.
Yeah, Tony, we'll have Tony get right on that right when she gets home today.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Get her right on that. We do need to get some stuff on the website. Transparency, live streaming the politicians. These are all good ones.
No new taxes. Get that on there too. Yeah, because it's so messed up. The budget, going back to that, holy, I want to do that. I want to see what the budget is. We need to do Freedom of Information Act to get the numbers on that if they don't have them available. Excuse me. I think that'd be really important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can you talk about citizen committees?
Right. We need committees so that we can that's how we're going to get things done. And we find out that everything we need to find out. Right. And for just making decisions on when you find out, you need committee to decide on, well, what are we going to do about that? Mm-hmm. Right. So that everybody decides together.
Yeah. So instead of, defensive action, we're proactive, right?
Right. And teamwork at the same time. Teamwork and finding out the information that everybody wants to find out, and then finding ways to do something about it. How to fix it. How can we fix it? Hopefully everything's not too far gone. I don't think it is. I think everything can be reversed.
So, what's interesting that I found out is that we have two local papers here in Pacific County. We've got the Willapa Herald, and we've got, I don't even remember the other one off the top of my head, but the county pays each paper $5,000 a month to report what they send them.
What?
Notices, things like that. $5,000 a month. Yeah.
Well, yeah, somebody got to pay for the ads.
Chinook Observer. That's the other one.
Was it voted on?
It was at the county level, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
There's also.
It's not free, so they're paying a private business to print. I don't know. They're records, I guess you might say, however you want. I don't want to say it in the wrong way,
Yeah, I get that. But if you look at each paper at the same time, they're never criticizing what the county is doing.
Oh, because you don't bite the hand that feeds you, you mean?
Yeah. Just like you got TV stations where most of their budget comes from big pharma,
Right.
and they never run ads against big pharma. They're always reminding their viewers to get vaccinated. It's time. It's flu season. Time to get the flu vaccine. Isn't it crazy that once the flu vaccine starts going out in the fall, all these people start getting the flu, and getting sick?
Right. If the flu vaccine worked, you wouldn't have the flu every year.
Well,
you wouldn't have it again. If the vaccines work, you wouldn't have any of these diseases ever again, but you do.
Correct. Yeah. So, anyways, and that just goes to show that we need more transparency. And the only reason that I found that out is because I was reading through past minutes of the county.
Oh.
But I would love to see that line item budget every single month of what the county is spending on.
Absolutely. Find out if then you'll know whether there's deficit or budget. Anybody can balance a checkbook and find out what they're doing. You figure out where the money goes. I mean, look, the Pentagon's missing trillions and trillions of dollars. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do billions. I don't even know how you'd lose millions of dollars but not be accounted for. But damn, trillions of dollars. That number, a trillion, is, I don't think most people realize how big that number actually is.
Yeah.
It's insanely humongous.
Glenn, I lose $100. Like if I get charged some random bill in my bank account, like every day I'm like looking at, like, what is this? What is this charge? And I go look at it, or I see a charge of, a subscription I, subscribe for, right? I'm like,
Right.
do I still need this?
Right. How do you miss trillions of dollars? Not even just, it's trillions, not even just 1 trillion.
Yeah.
That is so, and then, but it's not just, each different, so that's the big government. Then you got the counties where, state level, you got to account for that money. And I'll bet they can't account for a lot.
No.
All the way down to a city level, because it hits every single political spectrum. I guess it would be called that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There needs to be a Doge in every one of those systems.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think transparency is the first step to making that happen. Because that's all they did. They just started looking at the line item budgets. And like, what is this number? And what is this organization? And what do they do?
Who's putting this money in on what's being done with it?
Yeah.
And not only that, who voted for it? Who said they could have this money?
Yeah.
And if these people said you can have all this money, how much money did they get back for that?
But it just goes to show at the end of the day, the Republicans nationally just weren't serious about the situation because they got rid of Doge. As soon as Doge started finding some things out about their military industrial complex and pharma payments and all these other things in the Republican Party,
they were done.
Cut them off. All right. So Republicans.
Oh, good. You found everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't have found our corruption. You're just supposed to find the Democrat corruption.
Right. When they're both
You're all fired.
They're all the same party, really. I Democrat or Republican, I don't care. They're the same. They just do it in different ways. But at the end of the day, they go out and have dinner together.
Yeah.
They're friends.
This whole Venezuela thing, Biden was talking about. He passed sanctions against Venezuela.
He put a $25 million price on his head.
Yeah.
The bounty.
Yeah. So, if it wasn't Trump, it would probably be Harris this time around.
Right.
And the Republicans would be pissed off that Harris went over there and did it.
Yes. It doesn't matter who's in power. One side's going to blame the other because that's what they do. That's just to keep the game going. And that's why every time there's a third party tries to run, they get sued by the other parties.
Yeah, both of them. I'm familiar with that.
They how can that even be allowed? It's supposed to be free to run for whatever office you want, but you're not. If you're in a Democrat or Republican, you're not really going to get in. They might let a few here or there sneak in, but they're probably not even really the other. They're probably just part of the same team.
Yeah. Well, that's why, it goes to show when we're running candidates, yeah, we want to win, but our objective is to get a message out and to spread ideas around, like transparency in budgets, like live streaming politicians, so we can see what's actually happening behind closed doors with lobbyists, with the unions, with the NGOs, special interests, whatever you want to call them, whoever they are, and executive session meetings, because they are using executive session way too much. And that's like private meetings with the group of politicians that are elected.
Right. And we don't get to see what's going on. It's, it's national security. Okay, whatever. When it's really
I can see that, but no, like they're planning coups if at that level. But at this level here at the state level, like these politicians aren't having an impact that has to do with national security.
Right. So
they're talking about who's getting the grant money.
Yeah.
And how much more they're going to raise taxes on us.
That's why they don't want you there.
Yep.
That's the only reason, because they're just going to keep raising it, and they are going to do an income tax.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to do other taxes. And it's going
to start with the millionaires, right? But what if they say that it's not just, $1 million a year in revenue, but what if they say it's $1 million in assets too, included in revenue? So now, let's say if your house value, or you own one house and a vacation house, and all of a sudden the value of those properties passes up $1 million, are you paying that income tax now?
Right. And probably. So you get punished for doing better.
Yep.
That's what I was just saying a little bit ago. You get better you do, the more you get punished.
Yep.
It's horrible. It makes you not want to thrive, and that's what they want, because they don't want people striving for that. They want people down here on a lower level paying all the taxes.
Yep.
Because there's more in quantity than there is in the quality, so to speak, for taxes. There's a lot more taxes to be collected from poor people than there is from rich people.
Yeah, well, as you see, the more they tax us, the more people that are producing will move out of the state. And it sounds like you're right. And we're going to look up that graph. We're going to find out that with immigration, that 70% a year increase in immigrants in Washington state versus, the amount of money being spent and the amount of money being collected in taxes, and the native Washingtonians that are leaving the state.
Right. And then the ones that are still here are paying the price more, because these guys that are leaving so they got to make up for the taxes because these guys left.
Yep.
So there's less income because they're leaving.
That's why we have the deficit.
Right. And then you got the immigrants coming in, legal or not, doesn't matter. I'm just talking about the legal ones. Mm-hmm. And it's just draining the system.
Yeah. You take a look at guys like Jeff Bezos, whether you like him or not, right? He moved out of state. But people don't realize that his entire executive team also moved out of the state. All of the big money people around that company moved out of the state. They're no longer spending their dollars in local restaurants. They're no longer spending their dollars on vehicles. They're no longer there's all this money that is gone just from that one company.
They're going to go to a state who welcomes their taxes and their people that work for them and the money that they spend, because they spend a lot of money. Yes, they make a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money through themselves and their people that work for them. They boost the economy.
Big time. And in Washington state, there's a business and occupation tax. So those employees, those businesses are having to pay that tax on top. So guess what? The most productive companies are moving. People that are not tied to Washington state. Like you've got companies like construction. You're in construction.
10% is B&O tax for a construction company now.
That's crazy.
It was 5, so they doubled it to 10. So right away, no matter how much your company makes, you make $100,000, 10,000 of it goes to B&O, and B&O is business and operating tax. It's for the privilege of doing business in the state. That is all that tax is.
Yep.
And it took 10% right off top. Then sales tax, there's 20% of your money gone right there.
And then L&I, labor and industries tax on top of that.
That's a lot of tax money there because you have to pay per employee per hour.
Yep.
Depending on what work they're doing.
Yep.
But you're paying the state. If you have 11 employees, you're paying every hour each one works to the state a wage as if they're an employee to the state.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's crippling a lot of companies.
And they're going to keep moving. The producers are going to move out of the state.
Right.
Yep.
And yes, and they are fast.
Yep. They are. So we are 5 minutes over our 30-minute, but I think we got a lot of good information, Glenn. Thank you so much for running for office. I'm excited to get these ideas out there.
There's so much we can change. And we're going to.
Yep. We're going to do our best.
Yeah, we don't even have to win. We just got to get the word out. And that'll change things right there.
Yep. For those watching, if you're interested in donating, please go to WTPWA.com. We're running $5 a month in ads. We're currently growing at a good pace, and we're going to continue to get these ideas out there. So if you love what we're doing, please go donate at WTPWA.com. If you're in Washington State and you're considering running for office, fill out the Run for Office form. You want to volunteer and help us out, create a local chapter. Same thing, you want to get involved with Glenn and his campaign. We can reach out on that website now as well.
Absolutely. And we appreciate all the help.
Yep. Go ahead and hit the end live stream.
There it is.